What's coming up in your 10th step these days in terms of resentments that you might need to turn over?
I'm pretty good about not hanging on to resentments.
You'd have to be to.
Yeah, I mean, I learned that really on it. There's two ways that most people process conflict and anger, and one of those ways is to internalize it
Mhm.
and to turn it into a resentment, and that is like swallowing poison and hoping someone else will die. It's corrosive. And the other way is to externalize it and turn it into anger or rage, which then spreads it like like ripples all across the globe. You get angry, you kick the dog bites somebody else.
Mhm.
You get angry at your wife, she bitches at somebody at work, and it ripples across the globe. So neither of those is a good way to do it. And I think the technique for handling anger has to be learned by most people, that it doesn't come across. It's counterintuitive, which is that you go to the source of your anger and then you explain how you feel about it,
Mhm.
without pointing the finger, without using the word. I tell people, don't use the word you. Don't say you did this to me. Just say that encounter we had. Here's how I processed it. My feelings were hurt from it, or something, but without telling that person you did this to me.
Yep.
So you say what you mean without saying it mean.
Mhm.
And, and it's all technique, and it's something that you have to learn. But I have learned that over, 40 years and of, practicing those. So my, I clear up my anger, any instance of that, very, very quickly.
Mm.
And I won't go to sleep at night holding resentment against somebody, or when I sometimes in the middle of the night I'll have like almost like a dream state, or I wake up in the middle of the night and I go into this kind of contemplative twilight zone. When you're trying to get back to sleep, and I feel like God talks to me in those moments, and that during those moments I'll think of something. Oh, you said this to this guy today,
Mm.
and you were joking, but he probably took it,
Yep.
probably hurt him. So as soon as I figure that out, I make a call and I get rid of it.
Yep.
I neutralize it, because I don't want to walk around with any of that stuff.
Could have handled that better.
Yeah.
Hope that did. Yeah. I mean, it is such a miracle.
It's a miracle too, because another technique is to pray for somebody that injures you. And I learned this really on in dealing with road rage. Oh, that if somebody gives you a finger on the road. I mean, I remember a time when I turned my car around and chased a guy for 12 miles from White Plains to Somers, North Salem exit
with no plan, no real plan.
No, but then I got into physical conflict with him on the top of the exit ramp when he got off. And then I go home and I'm driving home and I'm late for the appointments that I was supposed to do that day. And I have this rage in my head, and the guy is living in my head rent free.
Mm-hmm.
And that stranger now controls the rest of my day.
That's right.
And, controls my happiness and my, capacity to maximize my impact on the world, and my feeling of well-being and all that. And so somebody told me, when somebody does that to you on the highway, or they cut you off, or they do something, to immediately just say a prayer for them. And it was like a miracle, because it just went away. And I'm sitting there saying, that's like a drug. You just do it and it goes away. And now you don't have to do anything. Now, I'm in control of my own life. I'm not handing control over to a total stranger. So that really helped me. And then in larger things, I had somebody who was a close friend of mine a couple of years ago who I helped this person in ways that were, I literally spent a year of my life doing something for this person that got him out of prison. And that person did something to me that was, that was not good. And I have not spent 1 minute feeling resentful or anger against I have a right to. I haven't, because I've been able to manage I manage my anger in that way. And I'm not, I feel very loving towards him and very forgiving and every day I spend a little time praying that good things happen to him. And what that does for me is it makes it that I never walk around with that bitterness inside of me.
Because whatever he did was ultimately self-harm because he lost you.
Whatever it was, the only way it can really hurt me is if I allow it to.
Mm-hmm.
And if I just send good energy toward him, then then it has no impact on me. And it's really been, to me, it's kind of like a hidden accomplishment for me, because I was able to process this whole event without ever experiencing resentment or anger.
Something that, sounds like a platitude, but they really helped me in program to simplify the complicated brain of we forgive others not because they deserve forgiveness, but because we deserve peace.
Yeah.
So
well, that's really good. You just said what I said in 10 minutes. I should have just said that. Can I write that down?